Where do you weigh into this focusing on debt versus economic stimulus debate? You wrote about a year ago, I'll read it in the New York Times, our immediate problem is to get our country back on its feet and flourishing, whatever it takes. Still makes sense. Once recovery is gained, however, Congress must end the rise in the debt-to-GDP ratio and keep our growth in obligations in line with our growth in resources.
Right.
Should we still be doing whatever it takes?
Well, we are sort of doing whatever it takes if you think about it. People talk about a stimulus bill that we had a year ago, and do we need a second stimulus? We are stimulating like crazy every month. Our federal expenditures are 150% of receipts. That's stimulation. It may not be a specific stimulus bill, but it is a lot of stimulation. When you're running a deficit of 10% of GDP, that's huge stimulation. So we have a monetary policy where we put our foot to the floor and drove interest rates down to zero. We have a stimulus policy with a 10% deficit of GDP. And it has worked. It hasn't worked as fast as people would like, or it's dramatic, but it has worked, and it will keep working, in my view. And we will have a better economy in a year, 2 years, and 3 years. I can't predict exactly the speed.
So clearly we're still doing what it takes, as you say, but is this the time to start focusing on debt reduction?
I like the talk that goes on about it, because we are getting to the point where we have to quit spending 150% of what we're taking in, and this is not a sustainable course for a long period of time, and we don't want to get too addicted to it. It is serving its purpose, but I would now be further along than I was when I wrote that op-ed a year ago. I felt then we were doing exactly the right thing. The crisis is past. The rebuilding of confidence is taking place, and we ought to be thinking fairly soon about bringing down that ratio of debt to GDP.
Does it concern you at all about where Congress and others are thinking about starting to cut the debt? For example, Congress leaving on recess without extending unemployment benefits. Is that what we should be doing right now?
I think I would have extended unemployment benefits. I mean, I think if you err in one direction on something like that, you err on the side of taking care of the people that have gotten killed for no fault of their own. So but I don't think it would be a bad idea to look at 20 or 30 or 40 billion someplace else, and some of those earmarks that were in the stimulus bill and all that sort of thing. So I think there's room to cut some things, but I don't think I would I think I would go for the extending of the unemployment benefits.
Do you think Congress has the will and the willpower to start making difficult decisions about where to cut?
I don't know. I mean, I would say that issue is very much in doubt.